Hey class, welcome to the basic strategies to figure out simple patterns tutorial. And why do I want you to learn these strategies? Well, if you learn to use these basic strategies, it'll help you save time and frustration and headaches while trying to find pattern rules. It's really important that you learn these basic strategies now because as you get older, these patterns will tend to get more difficult and tricky. So if we learn these now and get these under our belt right now, it'll save us a lot of hassle later. So I use 4 steps to solve simple patterns. Number 1, I determine if the pattern is a growing pattern or a shrinking pattern. The growing patterns have numbers that increase or get larger. Shrinking patterns have numbers that decrease or get smaller. If it's a growing pattern, then I'm going to either try adding or multiplying in the pattern rule. And if it's a shrinking pattern, then I'm going to try subtracting or dividing in the pattern rule. And the 4th step is just writing down the pattern rule, but we'll get into that in a bit. Let's take a look at the first pattern here. Before we get into the actual process of figuring out the pattern rule, I just want to talk about some math words specific for patterning. We normally would call the numbers here numbers, but we're actually going to call the first number here. The first number is the first term. It has a value of 5. The second term has a value of 12. The third term has a value of 19. The fourth term has a value of 26. And the fifth and sixth terms we don't know the values for yet, but we'll try to figure them out right now. So I look at the numbers and I notice 5 to 12 to 19 to 26. It's a growing pattern, they're increasing. And to help me figure out whether I should multiply or divide or add, I'm going to compare the first term number, the value is 5, and the fourth, which is 26. And I notice that it's only increasing by a little bit, 5 to 12 to 19 to 26. It's not increasing by a lot. If it was increasing by a lot, if this number was say 500 or 1,000, I would really try multiplying. But because they're small jumps, I'm going to only try adding right now to see if it works. So 5 to 12, I'm going to try adding, and 5 plus something equals 12, 5 plus 7. So let's try that again. 12 plus 7, does it equal 19? Yeah. 19 plus 7, does it equal 26? Yeah. So I'm pretty confident that it's add 7, so I'm going to try that again. 26 plus 7 is 33, and 33 plus 7 equals 40. So we completed that chart there using the strategies to solve it. And we just have to write a pattern rule now. So we always want to say where we start at, the term value that we started at. So the first term value was 5. So we're going to start at 5, and then we have to explain what we did. We had to add 7 to each term to get to the next term. So that one looks pretty good there. Let's try another pattern together. So the second pattern is, it looks like this. Same strategies involved. 1,000, 500, 250. The numbers are decreasing or getting smaller, so it's a shrinking pattern. That means it's either going to be a subtracting or dividing in this pattern. So I'm going to look at the first term here. It's 1,000, and it goes from 1,000 to 500 to 250. So it seems to be decreasing pretty quickly. 250 is way smaller than 1,000 in only 2 jumps. So I'm going to try dividing, because dividing, if you divide numbers, they will get much smaller much more quickly. So 1,000 to 500, let's try dividing it. 1,000 divided by something equals 500. Well, it's divided by 2, it's half. Let's try that again, see if it works. 500 divided by 2, it does equal to 250. So let's divide by 2 again, 125, and divide by 2 again, which actually gives us the decimal, 62.5. So I feel pretty good about that pattern. So let's write it out as a pattern rule. So we have to, again, identify which term, the value of the term that we started at. And we started at, if we look at the first one, it's 1,000. And then we had to divide each term by 2 to get to the next term. And there you have my 4 steps to help you develop strategies to figure out simple patterns.